We all know of the official Disney princesses, but what about the unofficial ones? These are those Disney heroines that have a big role in their movies. Some of them are even royal, but the official Disney princess title is apparently a whole other thing. So today I want to build some tiny homes in The Sims 4 for the unofficial princesses, and this will be one of those two-part mini build series where we design a big, beautiful exterior, and then we'll do the interior in the next video. Speaking of beautiful designs, this video is sponsored by Infinity Nikki. Infinity Nikki is a multi-platform, open-world adventure game that blends core dress-up mechanics with open-world exploration, platforming, and puzzle-solving elements. This is the 5th installment of the beloved Nikki series by Infold Games, which will be available on PlayStation, PC, iOS, and Android devices. In Infinity Nikki, you'll join Nikki and Momo as they embark on their magical adventure. I absolutely love an open-world game with whimsical landscapes, and Infinity Nikki has exactly that. The fantasy world is dreamy, bright, and full of creatures you can discover on your journey. Infinity Nikki features a perfect blend of simulation and cozy games, and you can collect a variety of materials throughout the world which you can use to craft and change your outfits. And different outfits give you special abilities like shrinking, gliding, floating, and more to help you along the way. And the designs of these outfits are absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to mix and match different pieces to create the perfect look for every occasion. Plus, the diverse puzzles and mini games you'll encounter provide endless fun and depth to the game. From cycling through scenic landscapes to soaring high in a hot air balloon, there's always something new to discover. So you can pre-order Infinity Nikki now using the link down in my description, and thank you again to Infinity Nikki for sponsoring this video. So we're starting off here today. This lot is actually located in Salvadorada, which is the Jungle Adventure Vacation World. It's a 64 by 64 lot, so we have tons of room to work with. And because of that, we're gonna be starting off with terrain. So using the Raise Terrain tool, I'm gonna just loosely start to shape this out. I like to use the brackets to make the brush a little bit bigger, and I'm just gonna bring this all around. Again, extremely loosely doing this right now. And then if we turn on the grid and use the Flatten Terrain tool, then wherever we click, the brush will flatten too. So we can make a lower area here, maybe we can have like a higher area right here, and then bring it around the back. I honestly find this to be the easiest way to do it because you're gonna need a flat surface to build in the first place, and this way you can kind of see where you're gonna put your house or whatever you're building. We can lower this spot here maybe, and then we can use the Smooth Terrain tool and we can really go in and just smooth things out. I also want to add a lot of water here, so I'm gonna go in with my Lower Terrain tool, and wherever I want the water to be, we're just gonna make a huge hole. I was thinking it would be really cute if we did like a fishing inspired jungle village where we can put some old abandoned boats, and I think it'll end up matching some of the themes that we're gonna do today too, so I think it could be really cute. Okay, so I've gone in and refined my terrain a little bit more, and for the next step we're gonna have to make sure we have debug turned on. Under base game, these rocks are my go-to when I'm playing with terrain, because whenever I see those dark terrain spots that you can't cover up with terrain paint, that's where these rocks come in. I've done this a bunch of times, so if you're familiar with my mini world series, you've seen me do this, so I won't spend too much time on it, but basically if you page down to the basement with the grid on, keep your rock down here, and then page up, you'll be able to actually get it to stick into the terrain, as opposed to if you brought it up and tried to put it in this way. If you do it this way, it's just gonna stick on top, it's not gonna look right, but if you do it through the basement, you're gonna get it to be nice and nestled into the terrain. So for now, this is what it's looking like after I've started to do it. And then I'm just gonna take a base game terrain paint and I'm going to fill in every pathway. So we're gonna have 5 houses laid out here, and I'm just gonna loosely bring the path along to where I think those houses are going to go. And then before I build anything, I'm gonna start going in with my landscaping just because this terrain is looking a little crazy. So I'm really just going to be filling in some spots with different bushes, different flowers. I'm gonna be adding lily pads all along the water. I'm using these debug decks, and I'm gonna add a couple of them along the water. And then from For Rent Debug, we could dock some boats in here. And we also have some super pretty debug water landscaping we can use as well. I also found these are from Jungle Adventure Debug. They're these stone sculptures that I had no idea came in this cute pink swatch. So I'm adding things like that around just to match the jungle theme. And after some of the landscaping, we're still gonna have a lot to go. this is what we're starting with. I know it's crazy to spend so much time on landscaping before building a single thing, but trust me, the whole image is going to come together so much more now. We've got the shipwreck over here from Get Famous, a bunch of jungle adventure trees, and we have the cottage living one. It's even looking so pretty lit up at night already, but okay, let's start to actually build. We're gonna start off over here, and for the first home, we're gonna build for Megara. She is the sassy and brave heroine from Hercules. We'll do a more in-depth explanation of her character once we do the interiors, but for now we're aiming for an ancient Greek-inspired home. This entire movie has themes of Greek mythology, so we won't be roofing this one. Instead, we're gonna use a Discovery University fence. I'm also using that along my balcony here, and actually I might have that hang over, so I'm gonna use the fence down at the bottom too. We're gonna add a thick trim up top, and I think I want to use these columns from the Romantic Garden stuff pack. So I'm gonna add quite a few of those. We'll add them right here at the front. I'm also gonna be adding them on the four corners of each floor. And Meg actually has a very tragic past. Her whole thing is she starts off serving Hades, the god of the underworld, after making a pretty terrible deal. Honestly, it's a whole mess. So I was thinking, once we do the interior, what if we did the bottom floor as a darker floor? I'm using wallpaper right now from the Castle Estate kit. So bottom floor is darker, the top floor gets lighter, just symbolizing her journey. We could use these base game windows, and maybe we'll use the Castle Estate ones on the bottom. We definitely need some of the Romantic Garden sculptures up top. The dress she wears is purple, and I found this. This is from my wedding stories. I really want to include this somewhere. I was thinking about putting that back here. I also wanted to bring in some bronze lighting, and we could use these Realm of Magic debug light posts, and we could bring in some blue orbs to represent her time in the underworld. Or should I make them purple? Like maybe we can have her reclaim that. Or let's just do both. I also wanted to give her a telescope, some chairs up here, and I also wanted to size up some pretty white flowers. I'm adding some purple jungle adventure flowers going up the sides, and I'm gonna size up more of those statues right underneath. These are so pretty. I don't know how I never noticed these before. And then beside the entry, I'm just gonna use some of the Riviera Retreat Kit rocks. And then underneath our purple pergola back here, I wanted to add some jars. Ooh, these ones are super pretty from the Oasis Courtyard kit. We could add a pretty glass table. I love the details on there. And by the way, these series, like the mini build series that I do, are so fun because I always check the comments for part 2. So if you have any ideas for what you want to see on the interior of any of these houses, let me know. I will be making notes. All right, so we have our first home. This one is for Meg. It looks so beautiful with all of the landscaping around, the orb lighting down below. I added more of a pathway to the pergola in the back, and I found this little white flower from Werewolves, which I put right on top of our table. I cannot wait to do the interior of that one, but let's move on to the next. And the next home will be for Giselle, which I almost didn't include, but I think her home could be really fun. So this character is from the movie Enchanted. At first, she fits the typical Disney princess stereotype, but after moving to New York City, she learns what it's like to live in the real world. So I want her home to be half fairy tale cottage, half New York City building. So in the back, we're gonna have this like modern expansion going on. And then here at the front is gonna be just a cute little cottage. Her story, now that I'm thinking about it, is actually like the opposite of Meg's. Her story starts off where everything is perfect. She doesn't even feel anger or frustration or emotions like that. This is actually a cute movie. I don't know why I was hating earlier. I take it back. So, okay, this can be our front entry. We'll raise this up on a foundation, and this can be our foundation paint. But then in the back, I want to make this all brick. We can use like a modern eco lifestyle fence for our roofing. And for this part, we can use brick from City Living. But then for the front part, I just wanted to use some beige wood from Horse Ranch with like a pretty pink door from Strangerville. Her animated character wears lots of pink. And this is another one where we could do a split interior. Like we could do modern on one side and then fairy tale cottagecore on the other. We might have to flatten some terrain here just to make sure our Sims can get around. And we'll add some stairs. And then for the back part, we're just going to use these modern windows from Eco Lifestyle. I'm adding some of the cottage living columns onto the corners. And then also again, super typical Disney movie, she can talk to animals. So we're gonna add the little bunny stump, and we can add the bird home so that all the birds are gonna be flying around her house. We could add the little werewolves mailbox here. I'm adding vines going up the side, just a super typical little fairy cottage, basically. How cute is this little bunny by the door? As a final thing in the back here, I'm just adding some modern spa day lights. So here we have our fairy tale cottage for Giselle with the modern expansion in the back, looking so cute all together now in our village. But let's move on to the next one, and our next one will be for Kida. Kida is from Atlantis, the Lost Empire, which I completely forgot about this movie, but she is iconic. She's a former princess of Atlantis, soon to be warrior queen, yet still that's not enough apparently to be an official Disney princess. So she's actually the reason why I wanted to have so much water on this lot. Like this combined with the jungle aesthetic, which we're gonna see next, plus the way we're including all of the like stone ruins from Jungle Adventure, it's all slowly tying together. But for this one, I want this to look like a literal water temple. So I'm gonna add some roofing on the top here. This is just a hipped roof. We're gonna curve it out and we're gonna add a glass roofing pattern on top. I did want to add some fountains around, so I think I'm just gonna shrink this a little, or maybe we can just bring it back. So since I have multiple houses on this lot, I can actually use the move house option. Up here in the menu, normally you can move like the entire lot. I'm gonna just grab one of the houses. I feel like this tool was made for me. This is so helpful in these village builds. And let's see what we could do for the trim here. Our color palette is going to be blue, silver, white. I think I'm just gonna use a simple white brick all the way around. And I guess we can fit these fountains just on the edge, and I can fill that in with landscaping later. Wait, why is that one so much bigger? Are those too big? I didn't know there was a smaller version here. These are both from Realm of Magic Debug. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll do 2 surrounding fountains. Ooh, I just thought of a really cute idea for Meg. We could do like a stable for Pegasus back there somewhere. We'll think about it because I really like that pergola. But anyway, for this one, I wanted to include some blue doors. So I'm using this one from Cottage Living with a Strangerville one. And what would it look like with stone windows? I'm trying these ones from Werewolves. There's also these ones we could try, or maybe these from Discover University. I'm trying to think of something old giving Atlantis. Maybe this stone wallpaper would actually be better. I wanted to add some blue crystals around her house, something like that surrounding it, and then we could size these up and put them out front. And then up top on this balcony, I wanted to use this lighting here. This is from Island Living. I also wanted to include some punching bags. She could do some training up here. I'm using this lighting from the Oasis Courtyard kit. And then Kida has these blue markings on her face. So I was thinking about adding this item from Dine Out, and maybe we could size it up and put it along the sides too. All right, so here we have Kida's with the landscaping all complete. We've got the fountains at the front. We have the crystals there, adding a bit of a whimsical element to the whole thing. And so far, here's what they look like all together. We have 2 more to go. The next one is going to be for Jane Porter. Jane Porter is from the movie Tarzan, and as a former upper class lady from England, she travels to the jungle to research gorillas. She loves animals and art and eventually falls in love with Tarzan. So obviously we're gonna have to build her a jungle treehouse. And I think the easiest way we can do this is by using this stump from Outdoor Retreat. We're gonna size this up. I'm gonna place it right in the middle, and then we're gonna build a wall here, and we're gonna see how much bigger we actually need this stump. So I want it to line up pretty much right at the top of that wall. I might have to raise it up a little bit, and we can fill in the bottom part there with landscaping. I'm gonna make sure the grid is turned on, and then I'm gonna use a floor piece, and we're gonna add that right on top of the room we just made. I'm gonna make that flooring piece big enough to fit the treehouse on top of, and I might actually use some curved walls here. So using a curved flooring piece, I'm actually gonna build it out that way. And then once we got our flooring, we can go ahead and delete the room underneath, and we're gonna be left with a platform for our treehouse. From there, we can put some brown trim on it. We can add some wood flooring, and now we should be able to build our shell on top. So I think I'm gonna make this into 2 floors. So I've built just a rectangle on top of that one. We're gonna do the same thing with the flooring piece, just adding that on top of the room that I just made. And then I'll just make a smaller room on top. I'm gonna add in some fencing. I'm adding my trim and flooring up top. And then for the wallpaper, I'm thinking about using this here from Horse Ranch. Now I'm just gonna add some roofing. I'm just taking the roofing from the fairy tale cottage, and I'm adding that on top just to keep the shaping consistent here. And now that we have the general shape complete, I can go in and we're just gonna add some trees coming out of the roofing. This is the easiest way to make a treehouse in The Sims 4. I've done an entire video on this kind of build before because this way you don't have to have the roots coming through the actual house. You're really just cheating it. And I'm gonna add even more to it by adding some more trees in the background here. And obviously this is where our jungle theme is going to tie all together. I think I'm gonna add a ladder over to the side here. We can keep it consistent with a Strangerville door. And I'm also gonna use the Strangerville windows in this brown and green swatch. And then from Jungle Adventure, we could add all of these hanging plants coming down. There are also these vines we can add. I'm gonna try and stick that underneath the roofing. Her main colors are yellow, so I'm gonna be decorating with yellow flowers. We unfortunately don't really have many jungle animals in The Sims 4, but we do have some jungle/archaeology books we could add. We could use some of the Jungle Adventure furniture. I feel like a telescope here would also be really cute. And obviously we're gonna want plants everywhere here too. Since she also loves art, this could be the perfect spot for an easel. And we could also add some of the log furniture from Horse Ranch. Down below here, I'm just adding a picnic table. And since I need more animals here, I thought it would be super cute to size up this tiger from For Rent. Maybe we can also put one up here on this chair because this is just too cute. So we have our Jane Porter treehouse. I ended up lightening it up a little bit with these yellow and green doors from Strangerville. Everything else here was so bright, and then we have the treehouse. But with the jungle in the background, I still think it ties together very nicely. And from here, we're moving on to the final one today, which will be for Esmeralda. Esmeralda is from the movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame. She is a street performer who lives in the catacombs beneath Paris. She's kind and selfless and shows love to those that the rest of the world may not. So this character might actually be my favorite. I love her style. I'm picturing the interior as like a boho, colorful with lots of patterns. So our shell is going to be relatively simple, and I'm going to use this wallpaper from Get Together. We're going to build out a front patio. I've raised it up on a foundation, and I'm changing the front part to a different foundation paint. And then for the roofing, I've again taken the same roofing from the Fairy Tale Cottage, and we're just adjusting it on here, but I am going to change the roof paint. She wears purple, so I wanted to go with this purple roofing. I've copied and pasted another roofing piece right on top of the other one, and I'm going to do the same thing, but we'll rotate it this time, and I'm just adjusting it onto the entire thing like that. For my windows along the bottom, I want to use these from Laundry Day, and then for the door, again, I'm planning on using lots of vibrant patterns later on, so I was thinking about using this detailed door here from Movie Hangout. I'm going to add some columns here from Horse Ranch, some get-together windows up top, and then I also wanted to add some Movie Hangout lighting coming down at the front, so I'm adding that lighting there along with these star ones. We're going to add some cottage living greenery going along the bottom here, and then she wears these gold beads and gold jewelry, so I wanted to add in these fairy lights here from the Little Campers kit, and I wanted to put these everywhere. We're going to put them on the bottom. I'm raising them up so we can add them in the roofing, and then for the balcony here, I'm going to use some items from the Movie Hangout stuff pack. I have always thought this stuff pack was so fun. There are so many patterns going on. Everything is really vibrant and colorful. She uses a tambourine, which unfortunately we don't have in The Sims 4, but we could add other instruments out here, like the guitar. There's a violin we can add. So right now, this is what we have for Esmeralda, but there's one thing I wanted to add still, and that is goats. You can find these easily in The Sims 4 Horse Ranch debug, but once you place them, you can't delete them. They're literally alive. So I placed 3 of them. I'm also going to add the feeder for them, and I'm just adding these little patches of grass around for them, which can be a food source for them as well. So here we have our village inspired by the unofficial Disney princesses in The Sims 4. Part 2 will be out in a couple days, and let me know anything you guys want to see me do inside these houses. Let me know which one was your favorite today, and if you guys liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.